Hi, today I'm going to talk about the Lost Bastille. It has a more complex layout than the three previous areas. It is also much bigger, so you can arrive here from two different paths. One from the Forest of Fallen Giants right after defeating the Pursuer, or from No Man's Wharf by taking the boat after defeating the Flexile Sentry. Both bosses are not very big deals. Pursuer is slightly easier and it's at the start of the game, so I would recommend doing that. It also takes you on a very different path. Um, the boat leads you to a bunch of cells, then you need to fight a bunch of enemies on towers with arrows, and then you can just join back the start of, well, not the start, but where you should start if you arrive from the Forest of Fallen Giants. So it's not really a very big deal. Now, this area has a lot of different shortcuts and a lot of different ways to go here and there. It has some traps, but it's nothing too difficult or too unfair or too frustrating. You mainly have explosive barrels here and there, enemies pushing them, enemies attacking them, or enemies that explode, making the barrels explode too. It's done pretty well here. I died like 2-3 times, but once you know the trick, it's not a big deal. Well, the biggest critique you could do here is that in Dark Souls 2, death is very punishing since you have to kill every enemy again, unlike in other Souls games where you could just rush in the area by running. Here you have to take your time, so if you die to a trap, like an explosive barrel, you have to go back and kill every single enemy. But this area is not very difficult, so it's not that big of a deal. It's a much bigger issue in Iron Keep, for example. Now, outside of those traps, the enemies are, like I just said, they aren't that big of a deal. You have the swordsman, the ones with the great swords, they're fine to fight. There's a small section where you have to fight like 5-6 of them at the same time. You can just kill them as they arrive or hit them all at the same time. It's a little bit funny and challenging. It's not that big of a deal. Later in the game, when you're being rushed down by 5-6 enemies that are much more strong or fast, it's annoying. Here it's just fine. You will also stumble upon some Pharaoh's doors. One of them is a trap, and there are like another that leads you to a secret pathway, and it leads to the lunar Belfry, where you can fight the gargoyles, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Before talking about the bosses, in terms of enemies, you can fight enemies you already defeated before. And I mean already defeated before, I'm talking about bosses like the Flexile Sentry or the Pursuer, which you need to defeat either one of the two to access the area. There are 3 secret Pursuer encounter here. They even have a new attack where they like explode and they launch some dark magic at you like Manus in Dark Souls 1, although much less powerful than Manus magic. You can also fight the Flexile Sentry. The Pursuer, once you defeat them, they do not respawn, if I'm not saying bullshit. The Flexile Sentry does respawn though, and those fights are fair fights, so it's fine to meet them again. They make for good encounters, so it's fine. There's no frustrating moveset. If we talk about the Flexile Sentry, still an animation problem where like the boss doesn't move and suddenly it does one of its attack and you don't really see it coming. But this is a problem that the entire game has. The animations are not very well executed. Now, for the bosses, you have 3 bosses in this area. You have the Rune Sentinels, the Gargoyles, and the Lost Sinner. The Rune Sentinels are very good. You fight one of them at the beginning, then you get dropped down and you can fight the 2 remaining, or you can drop down, fight all 3 of them at the same time, or you can wait on the ledge and you can fight them one by one. It's pretty original. If you kill one and then fight the other 2, it's kinda make me think about the Mantis Lords in Hollow Knight. Individually they're fine, their moves are not hard to dodge, you can just bait them and then attack, or you can try to dodge in, but there are some attacks that are harder to punish. You can throw their shield, they can do like a roll, well not a roll, but they do a spin attack. Overall, it's a fine fight. It's harder than previous fights, I think, but it's also much funnier. Not funnier, but it's more fun. It's a good fight. Now, at the opposite side of this, we have the Belfry Gargoyles. So the area where you fight them is small, it's cramped, and you have to fight up to 5 of them. Like you start, there are 2 of them, and as the fight goes on, more and more join the fight. It's time based, so if you take too much time, you'll be fighting 5 gargoyles, which I did every time I tried. If you use a shield, it's good to block their attack and then you can retaliate. It's not actually that hard if you use a shield. If you don't use a shield, it's a pain in the ass. Well, I guess it depends on your level and what your weapon is. With a shield, it's much easier, much easier, but it's still frustrating. They have attacks like the fire spit when they're under half health. That covers a lot of space, and as I said, you have to fight 5 of them in a very small area, so that just makes the fight even more tedious. So yeah, the fight is not that hard, but it's not a good fight. And it's also a copy-paste of Dark Souls 1 boss, which was much better in Dark Souls 1, honestly. I think it's just an unnecessary boss. In a remake, make this fight better. Just fight 2 of them at max at the same time, and once you defeat one of them, another joins the fight, like the Watcher Knights in Hollow Knight. The Belfry Gargoyles are not great. Lastly, we have the Lost Sinner, which is the final boss of this area, and it's also supposed to be a harder boss because it's like a main story boss. Like you have to get his soul, her soul, it's a woman, as well as the soul of the Old Iron King, the Rotten, and Duke Destroyer. Well, the Lost Sinner is an important character in lore, but the fight is super easy, like no second phase. In NG+1 she's joined by 2 pyromancers, if I'm not mistaken. But here it's super easy, you can use a shield to block the attack. I like the fight is cool, but it's too easy. The way she repositions herself, the white strikes, you don't have time to do more than 1 attack. Those are good for a duel, but it's not enough to make it hard, when you can just dodge easily or just block every attack she does. If you don't get it, where's the challenge, you know? So yeah, making the Lost Sinner harder, giving it a second phase, will be really good in a remake. Maybe she casts some dark magic attacks since she was stuck in the dark for so long, all alone. Or maybe she does beer combos. I don't know, something. Right now it's way too easy to be considered. Well, it's a good fight, but it's too easy. It's like a 6 out of 10 at best. So now to conclude, this area is really good, the atmosphere is good, it's challenging, the complexity of the level and the connectivity are good, rune level is good, enemies are interesting and fine, not too frustrating. You fight the pursuers again, which is cool. The traps are okay. There are not many bad things about this area. Like, it's a bit long, if you die it's a bit annoying. The Belfry Gargoyles are great, and the Lost Sinner is too easy, but outside of that, I like this area. I liked it, honestly, and I think it's good. It's good, and so far Dark Souls 2's early game is actually really solid. Like, it's nothing exceptional, because, well, that's what Dark Souls 2 is. It's nothing exceptional. You take your time, you have interesting mechanics and enemies. It's not too frustrating at first, and it's fine. It's okay. It's solid. It's like 7 out of 10. Well, we'll see if it's still the case after for the other areas of the game, for the late game. But for now, it's good. It's not on the same level as other Souls games, but I think it's at least as good as Dark Souls 1. Although Dark Souls 1's early game is, yeah, it's also very solid. Yeah, it's complicated to say one is better than the other. Well, Dark Souls 1 hitboxes and the late game in Dark Souls 1 are really bad, honestly. So maybe I would put Dark Souls 2 above Dark Souls 1. That's debatable. Anyway, to conclude this video, I found this area really good. Lost Sinner, too easy. Belfry Gargoyles, bad. The rest is really good. I liked it, 7 out of 10. I'll see you later to talk about the Shaded Woods. Bye!